Mercedes, please, here's a check. I have no money in my account. Or even if I have money in my account, you can't cash it. So all I'm doing is writing checks. And that's how they're buying the Saudi oil, with US dollars, which cannot be redeemed. They're just like checks which cannot be cashed. Well, then why did the US dollar collapse? There's only one answer. Only one answer. Only one. And that is that Wall Street knew what even our distinguished and respected ulama did not know. Wall Street knew that this entire international monetary system was fraudulent, batil, and that it will collapse one day. And they thought that that day had come. In 73 and again in 80. And so a Wall Street banker would not ask, would the international monetary system ever collapse? No, he wouldn't ask that question. What's the question he'll ask? When would it collapse? That's what he would ask. Since 1980, something strange has been happening. And that is that there has not been any more collapses. The US dollar, in relationship to gold, has remained fairly stable for 22 years now. The price of the US dollar, the value of the US dollar in relation to gold, has been moving between, say, $250 and $400, up and down, okay? But no collapse. Why is this happening? The answer is, those who have constructed this system, those who are preparing to bring down this system, and to then take absolute control of the world of money as part of the means through which they will now rule the world. Rule the world. And the golden age would be said to have come back again. And so the Messiah must be here. They're the ones. For that subject, of course, please read this book, Jerusalem in the Qur'an. It'll explain that subject. What they did was to control the price of gold. Can you control the price of a commodity? Yes, if you can establish what is called a monopoly. Then you can control the price of a commodity. The Prophet ﷺ cursed the one who establishes a monopoly. In the late 19th century, when diamonds were discovered in southern Africa, the Jews were behind the diamond industry, the European Jews. And they wanted to take control of the diamonds, and they wanted to maintain the high price so that the price would not lower. So what they did, they used, of course, a British as a front man, so that Jewish face would not be up front. His name was Cecil John Rhodes. Cecil John Rhodes. And using Cecil John Rhodes, of course the Jew is behind him, Alfred Beat is the Jew behind him, and behind Alfred Beat is Lord Rothschild in Europe, the Jewish banker. What they did was to buy out all the other diamond mines. And those which could not be bought out, they got them to come together in one amalgamated company, which was called De Beers Consolidated. And once they did that, they were able to maintain stability in the price of diamonds at the level that would give them the maximum return. And so this is what has been happening to gold. Not for the purpose of keeping the price high, no. For the purpose of keeping the system from collapsing. We don't want it to collapse on its own. We want to bring it down when it will be in the interests of the State of Israel. That's where we are today, brothers and sisters. This is the history of what has happened since the first paper money was issued. The attack on America on September the 11th is the opening rounds. I have warned you time and again. The opening rounds of the countdown which will witness the transfer of power from one ruling state to another, from the United States of America to the State of Israel. How does Imran Hosein know this? Where does he get this knowledge? Brother, the hadith is there. We've used it as the cover of this book. Sure, you can differ with me. I have no problem with that if you differ with me. That I have interpreted the hadith in the way that I have, and you are uncomfortable with it, fine. But what are you going to do when Israel becomes the ruling state of the world? You'll remember me on that day, yes? Yeah? Imran was right. He interpreted the hadith correctly. Part of the process through which the Jews will take control of the world is the attack with money. This is riba. With the value of the money collapsing, going down lower and lower, she was working, you remember, for 40 bags, the black woman. And then the white South African government was slapped in the face by the US Congress in 1988. Why? Because the white world order, they don't want to look bad. And this was an eyesore in South Africa. So they wanted to get rid of this apartheid because it was embarrassing them. So they slapped economic sanctions on South Africa in 1988. And then the South African rand collapsed. It was 1.9, it went to 3 rands to the dollar. And the woman who was working for 40 bags of meal or corn, she's now getting 20 bags. Huh? And then when the black government gave way, the white government gave way to the black government, 91 or 92, the South African rand had some color consciousness in it. Because as soon as the black government took power, it dropped from 3 rands to 6 rands. Strange things happening, eh? And then when September 11 took place, 2 aeroplanes hit 2 towers, and the South African rand thousands of miles away fell from 6 to 9. And so she was working for 40 bags of meal. And then it went to 20, and now it went to 10. And then about a month or 2 ago, I don't know, it reached up to 12 rands to 1 US dollar before the South African government established a commission inquiry to find out where is this thief. And who is the thief? And so this is riba. This is riba. Why? Because of the verse of the Qur'an, وَلَا تَبْخَسُوا النَّاسَ أَشْيَاءَهُمْ وَلَا تَبْخَسُوا النَّاسَ أَشْيَاءَهُمْ. Do not diminish, make little the value of people's property, people's labor, people's sweat. It's haram. It is riba because of the hadith. If you rip off somebody, then that's riba. This is a rip-off. When the moment is appropriate,